The Conservative Political Action Committee, also known as CPAC, has officially disinvited one of their speakers for their goofy annual conference after it was discovered that he pushed vicious anti-Semitic slurs and conspiracies. Now, as a result, this man, Young Pharaoh, has been canceled, which is funny because the Florida event later this week has as its theme, America Uncanceled. Irony. What are we gonna do about this? Now, the nature of what this guy was tweeting and saying on his own programming was pretty awful. So for instance, I'm gonna give you just one example, and this is actually one of the more tame examples of his disgusting anti-Semitism. But he says there's no historical or scientific evidence proving the existence of Jews or Judaism. It's all a complete lie. Go get the best Jewish scholar you can find and I'll expose religion as being completely made up for political gain 100%. It never happened. And he pushes all of the typical tropes that you would hear from anti-Semitic people. So at that point, CPAC realized, oh, maybe it's a bit of a liability to have him on as a speaker. So they announced that they were canceling him. They did so through a tweet where they write, "We have just learned that someone we invited to CPAC has expressed reprehensible views that have no home with our conference or our organization. The individual will not be participating at our conference." And then they decided to wipe him from their website. But they did so in a really funny way because now there's just a blank space where Young Pharaoh used to be. And Young Pharaoh is not taking this well. He argues this is censorship at its best, all because I said I do not believe in the validity of Judaism and I'm willing to place $50,000 on myself to debate the top Jewish rabbi. Now I'm no longer invited to CPAC. And then he claims that they're being racist and it's a dictatorship. And then he hashtags his own name because that's what cool kids do. But anyway, the tweet that I shared with you guys, by the way, I just really want to reiterate, that was the tamest one. They were so vicious and so vile that I didn't want to really repeat them on the show, but they're awful. They're so awful that CPAC decided to cancel him.
Yeah, once people pointed it out, they still booked him, even though all of the research it would take to realize who this person was is to literally look at their Twitter account, which I understand is a little bit difficult. You would, after all, have to go to his page on the CPAC site to go directly to his website and his Twitter account. But somehow they didn't see any of this stuff. It's not like you have to dig deep or back to 2011 to find this stuff. That's all his stuff is. I would love for them to answer the question. So what if his work was it that you were okay with? What was he producing? What philosophy or whatever? Because they call him a philosopher. What was it about his work that made you interested in having him there? For this to then make you not interested? How could you have possibly missed that he thinks that Jewish people don't exist? I don't even know what that means. How did you? Like, I get that he's accomplished a lot for a person that apparently doesn't know how to turn off the caps lock, because literally every one of his tweets is all in all caps. I don't know if you noticed that. It's not just that one. They're all in all caps. Yep. But this is what they want. They want people like that, and they want them as extreme as possible. But maybe specifically attacking Ben Shapiro, if people point it out, that might get you in trouble.
It is interesting though, because their keynote speaker is going to be Donald Trump. Ugh. Donald Trump has said some pretty awful things about pretty much every group you can imagine. It's just, it is funny. I mean, don't get me wrong. Canceling this speech was the right decision. But let's not pretend as if the event is not going to be littered with all sorts of awful people who have said awful things about minorities and women and people in the LGBTQ community. I mean, it's littered with those
individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's gonna be other anti-Semites.
100%. And so let's not pretend as if this is just gonna be like this, great wholesome event full of wholesome people. But also, like, can we finally put to bed the fact that PC culture, cancel culture, all of that stuff, everyone engages in it. Everyone does cancellations, because guess what? Sometimes you come across new information about someone and you don't want them to be associated with your event, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That is the right thing to do. Now, that's different from, trying to destroy someone's life over something they tweeted in 2009, because I think people are definitely capable of evolving and changing, but I think it's it's a case by case basis. This situation though, these are the views that this man holds right now, and he is unapologetic about it. So canceling his speech is totally fine. I just want conservatives to understand that when the other side does it, then they're not bad people. They're just making a decision to not associate themselves with someone who might not really live up to the values that they want represented in their event.
Yeah, forget not being remorseful. He mentioned the debating a rabbi in that tweet, actually. He's totally not remorseful. But yeah, look, I would say, and maybe it's just a wording thing. When you say that conservatives need to recognize that everyone does it, I'm not interested in conservatives recognizing that. Conservatives know that everyone has things that annoy them or they find offensive. And if they find it offensive, they might speak out against that person, which is also included under cancel culture. Literally just tweeting that you don't like something is, from the right's point of view, canceling, to literally canceling something like this trip. Everyone does that. Republicans know that. What I want is for enough regular people to understand what's going on and to understand the con that's being played, that this is just an evolution of political correctness conversations from the 90s. It's the exact same thing. And it is not, it is pitched to be some sort of neutral concept that we should all be understanding. We should all not react in a knee-jerk fashion, but that's not what the political correctness conversation was about, and that's not what cancel culture is about. It is leftists and centrists saying, hey, maybe don't say hateful things about the LGBTQ community or something like that. That is political correctness. That is cancel culture. Conservatives attacking you for criticizing Christianity or criticizing the Israeli government specifically or whatever, there's no protection in that. This is not a neutral standard. It is them setting up asymmetric warfare. It is uneven terrain that the rhetorical battle of American politics and society will be waged on. And they already know that. That's why they're doing it. We need regular people to understand that so that it won't be effective anymore.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.